And lo and behold, 9/11 happens, and that giant sucking sound was people like me being mobilized, and I was put in the military intelligence support, information operations, strategic communications, and that's when I started doing some research.
His job was to become an expert on Islamic law, but the information in American libraries and bookstores was too incomplete and flawed for intelligence gathering.
So then I went to a local mosque bookstore, or a bookstore associated with a mosque, and I started buying some books, and I read this one. I said, well, I can't quote this. This is a radical book. No, well, I can't quote that because that's a radical book. And I can't quote that because that's a radical book. So I went back, and I would say over the period of 18 months, I must have spent about $2,500 on books on Islamic law and related topics, coming from stuff that was actually put out and distributed inside Islamic bookstores for the use of Muslims. And I got to a point about 2 years into it where I realized, you know what, I'm starting to read these books, and they're now all quoting each other. And that's when I realized I do think I have Islamic law. And actually, this is what it says.
As Coughlin became an expert on Islamic law and warfare, his findings and reports created more political discord than they did establish a baseline for military planners who were sending Americans into battle.
The Hidayah has, in book 2, has book 13, all 60 pages on jihad. It was as early as 2004 to 2007 that I would go brief at the military war colleges and associated educational institutions, where I had regimental commanders or brigade commanders, and their head would go back. And after we got halfway through the, I got halfway through the briefing, they'd be very upset, and they would come up to me and I'd say, "What's wrong?" And because I thought they were very angry at me, and they were very angry. And I said, had I known this when I was over there, we'd still have troops alive. And what they meant was, now that I said this and I showed what it meant, they knew that they heard that and didn't think it meant anything. Because the official meme is, this has nothing to do with Islam.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka is a military affairs fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies.
I've always said, if you have an enemy who says they are a holy warrior, who says they are fighting for God, if that is what they say they're doing, you need to put that in context, and you have to ask, okay, what's that religion they say they're doing it for? So I begin with a very 101, what is Islam? If these people say they're Muslims, then let's ask the question, what is Islam? So 101 introduction, and then through the course of the program, we walk them into the specific strategic culture and the ideology of jihad. So this is the bigger context, the broad context. Then, what do these individuals really want? What are their means, their tools, and what is their end state? How do they wish to use violence against the United States to achieve their ultimate goals?
My job, and the job of the intelligence community, is not to define true Islam. It's to define the Islam that gets people to kill us, regardless of whether it's correct. Because it's like Mein Kampf. It doesn't have to be correct for the Nazis to adopt it. And it doesn't have to be correct for you to be dead because you didn't take it seriously.
I mean, Karl Marx writes a book in the middle of the 19th century that becomes a little manifesto. And that manifesto becomes what? The biggest life and death threat to the whole of the Western world until 1990. A little pamphlet. Not the nuclear weapons, the pamphlet, the idea becomes life-threatening to everything from the Greeks right up to emancipation, to the creation of America. Everything is threatened by a little booklet. How easily we forget the power of ideas.